Well, good afternoon, everybody. Cesar Rivas here from Sound Payments. We're going to get started shortly. All right. This is our monthly workshop here. We're going to be working on today. Actually, let me change this real quick. Stop share. Hope I can remember this. All right, I've got 1 minute before we get started here. So just hang in there. All right, and I've got 1 p.m. Eastern time on the dot. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So good afternoon. My name is Cesar Rivas. I am the product manager for Sound POS and also the sales executive. And welcome to our monthly uh, resellers workshop we have here. All right. So in case you haven't had one of these before, you haven't participated in one of these before, these are on a regular monthly basis. They're on the second and last Wednesday of every month. So we're having this one. We're having one more Wednesday left in the month, and then that's it. March is over, and we're on to April. God, this year is going by really fast. Um, but really, the idea is that I can present some stuff. The first 15 minutes, I'm going to be talking about, today some new features that we're adding specifically for QSR and really any food industry merchant that can utilize our POS. Okay. If you remember, in the food industry, we can fit. We have a lot of features for the food industry, but the exception would probably be just full service restaurants because we don't have a reservation module and a table dining room layout module either. Okay. I mean, you can have a mom and pops, for example, and it works great because you can even assign tables to your customer database in case you're not familiar with it. Um, but overall, yeah, this is specifically for more of a QSR, food truck, small mom and pops, maybe storefront. All right. Um, so really the way that this session goes is I'll go over the new features for the first 15 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes will be a quick sales pitch. All of these recordings are on our YouTube channel. If you go to Sound Payments on YouTube, you'll be able to find those as well. And then, you can go ahead and look at past ones. Now, if you've already again been on any one of these sessions here, you notice that the last 15 minutes, if you've seen it, it's pretty much just a rerun of everything that I do. All right. Now, the premise of our POS, in case you're not familiar with Sound POS, is that we empower you to have all the tools so that you can be completely independent, or we can also support you to the point where we do, everything for you in terms of rollout and all that stuff. All right. So just to give you a little bit of a recap, what we're going to be looking at today. So as I mentioned before, this is really meant more for the food industry segment. It's the ability to combine tickets and also split tickets. All right. Also, you're able to split payments, and there's several ways in which you can choose to split the payment. So we're going to go over that. All right. So let me go ahead and switch over here to the actual screen of the POS. So you can see it. I'm using a handheld today. Let me go ahead and share this screen with you guys now. Okay. All right. So you should be able to see my I'm attempting to connect to the POS. All right. Now this version is going to be out. Should be out by next week at the latest. We've been working on this for a little bit. All right. So again, this is more just on the POS side. It's functionality that just to make it easier. Because even some QSRs that we've been in contact with, they actually do need sometimes the ability to split checks or to combine checks as well. All right. So we're just going to look for an old check here. All right. Search any orders. Right. Now, of course, orders have to be pending for you to be able to split them. So I'm going to go ahead and choose any pending order. let me just choose for the last couple of months. Okay. Let's see if we've got any larger orders here. We got some dine-in stuff. Let's see here, 123. Let me see what I've got here for dine-in on the Caesar for 122. Okay. No, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reopen this order. Okay. I'm going to add a couple of things. Okay, so right now it only has a potato chip. Let's go ahead and add something else. Let's add maybe hot fudge sundae. Okay, add some caramel. Okay, so now we've got the hot fudge sundae, and maybe we're gonna add one more thing. Let's go ahead and add a beverage here. Okay, we'll add a fountain drink. We'll do a medium-sized fountain drink here. Okay, and then of course maybe a second drink, so you can split maybe a Perrier bottled water. Okay, so now we've got several items here. Let's go ahead. Okay, we'll go ahead and save that ticket. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and recall it. All right, I'm not going to print it or anything like that. I'm just going to recall the ticket. Again, search orders. I go in here. Okay. Oh, sorry. Again, we want something that's pending. Last 3 months, right? And I believe we chose the second page, this one that's right here. Okay. All right, so what we do is we're going to split order here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and choose the potato chip and the Perrier. Okay, we're going to add it to this side, and then we're going to submit. Okay, so now, once you submit it, of course, it's going to close out. Now you should have, well, this is the new one that it split, and of course, you also have the previous one. So that one, this one here, oh, sorry, that's not it. Let me go back here. Let me go back here. So this one here, there we go. So this is half of the order, okay, the fountain drink and the hot fudge. And then the other, because we just split it today, it's going to be here, which is going to be the potato chips and the Perrier, okay? And then you can go ahead and check out right from here, okay? And choose to split the payment if you'd like. Now, there's a couple of ways in which you can split the payment. You can split it in equal parts. So you place submit, right? It's going to prompt you for how many splits you want to do. Okay. So we're going to do two, split it into two. Okay. Now you're going to see the detail. All right. So this would be the payment for the first part, which is $457. We'll go ahead and take payment for that. Okay. Cash. I'm not going to print it right now. And then the second one, again, you can look at the detail. What are they paying? Half again. You're going to go ahead and pay in cash. Okay. So these would be, same item, but two different checks. All right. All right. So we're done with that one. It's already been paid for. Okay. I want to show you with a different pending one, the ability to split payments, but this time by dollar amount. Okay. So you can choose, let's go ahead and reopen it. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and just go direct to checkout. We don't have to reopen it. All right. I'll choose split, but this time I'll choose split by amount. Okay. So I want to split it by $10, amounts of $10. Okay. So obviously the first payment will be $10. Then the next one would be $30.79. So you get to choose, how much you want to split it in terms of payment. Okay. We'll go ahead and do cash as well. All right. So we don't have to print this receipt. So that's already been paid for. Okay. Now, if you want to combine orders, you have to make sure that if it's an order that's under a customer profile, you can see that this order was under this customer profile. It would have to be somebody under that same profile there. I believe so. I mean, let me see if we can do that actually. We're going to go here. Oh, let me go back for a minute. Just want to look at the order number 109,615, 109,666. All right, so 109,615. We're going to go ahead and say combine order. Okay. You can do a search. I'm going to go for a couple of months here. And which order do we want to combine? This is the one that we're combining now. Let me see if we can combine one that's not actually part of that customer's profile because we have one down here that's under testing guy, but I'm not sure I hadn't even tested that. Let me see if it allows me to combine with somebody else. Okay, it does. So it doesn't have to be under the same customer profile. Now you can go ahead and check out, and you got, all of the items that were in the other order now included in here. Okay. Um, Let me go ahead and I'm gonna close this out, see what we've got now. All right. So if you notice, one of the orders disappeared because it's all combined in one. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it in terms of, this week's. Let me see, make sure that you guys are seeing this here. What am I sharing here? Okay, yeah, you were seeing that. Perfect. All right. So that's pretty much it. You're able to do split orders, you're able to do combine orders, and then you're also able to do split payments. And you can do it in various ways. You can split it in equal payments, or you can split it by dollar amount. Okay, pay $10 on one person and then $35 the other. Now, when you split by payment, as you saw, it only allows you to split it into two. Okay. Now, our system, already had the ability to take multiple forms of payment if you wanted to for a single transaction. It's not limited to two, but this is just a little bit more technical. Because if I wanted to go into like, let's say this payment, this first transaction here, and I say, all right, let's check out. I can, without using the split payment function, I can just say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and pay cash. I'm going to pay $2. Okay. All right. I'm not going to pay any tips on here. I don't want to cash include a tip. All right, and then the difference, I can go ahead and pay check. I can pay $1. Okay. And then I can use Cash App and pay $3. So you already had the ability. This is something that was already on the system. You already had the ability to do this. Okay. Or Venmo, you can pay the difference. So this transaction actually allowed me to make four different forms of payment. And you can do multiple credit cards as well. Okay. You can actually do, if you want a debit and then a credit and then another debit or, three credit cards, whatever you want. The system already had that ability. But with what we've just done, you can be a little bit more specific when you're doing split payments because now you can actually print two receipts out when you do what split the payment. You couldn't do that before. And you don't have to do the calculation. Now the system can do the calculation for you. Again, when you choose split payment by number of payments, you can choose two, three, four, and it'll split them all evenly. You can also choose split payment by amount, where it's only going to allow you to choose two forms of payment, and you can choose the amount for the first form of payment, and then the balance, you'll choose the other form of payment. Or you can just utilize the old way that we were doing it, which was pretty much you can choose, one form of payment, input the dollar amount, another form of payment, input the dollar amount, and there's no limitations as far as, how many forms of payment you can utilize, even if you're using multiple credit cards. All right. All right. So that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and move on to the second part of our workshop, which is, as I said, it's a little bit more of a sales pitch. So if you've already seen this, let me go ahead and switch back over to the, let me see here. Let me share my presentation again. Okay. All right. So now you should see my presentation on the screen here. There you go. All right, so to give you a little bit of background on who we are. So Sound Payments is located out of Jacksonville, Florida, and we're a software developer company, a software development company, which specializes in solutions for the payment services industry. So we're not an ISO, we don't do any processing. That's why we don't do direct to merchant sales. It's all through our resellers. So we're pretty much a wholesale. All right. Um, we do have some new delivery services that we've added. Where I'm going to be promoting that next week, again, in the food industry. And we feel like this in combination with what you just saw in terms of, split payment and things like that, really provides you with all the tools that you would need for that type of a food establishment. Okay. Again, it could be QSR, food truck, mom and pop sit down. You know, it also works well in the type of environment like IHOP, where maybe, you know, you have a server that takes your order at the table. You know, they can utilize even one of our handheld devices. And then there's a counter where the client walks up to and they actually pay for their meal there. Okay. So it's a really good use for that. Sorry about that. Okay. Also, you know, again, going along with the food industry here, you know, the kitchen display solution is also available. So you have a place that doesn't want to use a kitchen printer, which our system supports because they want to have all the little papers laying around. You've got a kitchen display solution now that's available for them as well. It's even color coded, so they can color code, you know, how long it's taken them to do each item that they're preparing. All right. We have some additional options: ID scanning, scales, tobacco reporting. We're going through some changes here, so that's kind of on the back burner right now. All right. Um, these are some of the features that that I always like to highlight. It's a very customizable POS. So, you know, this session today specializes on the food industry, but you can also work in retail and other types of establishments, all right? Because for inventory, for example, allows you to track inventory in various ways by the item, by attribute, or attribute combinations, you know, like size and flavors and things like that. You can even upload your inventory using a spreadsheet. It also has an employees module that allows you to restrict access to different functionalities. So you can have different levels of authority. And you also have a time card feature. So it allows you to keep track of how, you know, how many hours worked for each employee. Um, it also does have a customers database. So you can store your customers' personal information, name, phone number, even birth dates. And the customer database comes with a loyalty program, points-based loyalty program, which you can program to generate, you know, how many points you want to generate with a sale and how many points you want to you want to require for redeeming any rewards. You can also even establish a minimum threshold of points so they can't redeem prior to having that minimum number of points. And then it also has a credit account feature where the merchant can provide credit to their customers, and they can decide how much per customer, how it's paid back, and all that stuff. It comes with gift cards built in. They're barcode-based gift cards, so it's a number-based gift card. They can scan the barcode or they can input the number manually. And if they want to, you know, if you want to print out gift cards with the barcode embedded, we can provide you with those numbers ahead of time. Also does, of course, synchronizing your information on the cloud. Even though the data is stored locally on the terminal, as far as your inventory and all that, it also is stored on the cloud. It allows you to have multiple terminals that will talk to each other. Start a transaction in one terminal, finish it in another. You can run a refund in one terminal, even if the transaction was not run there. And then, of course, if it needs replacement, it's very easy to do. And then it comes with a web portal, of course. It allows you to configure and access information remotely without having to be at the terminal. It's a browser-based uh, um, portal, so there's no need to download any type of an app. And it can be utilized then on a computer, on a tablet, even on a smartphone. And there's a series of reports that come both on the terminal and on the web portal. The ones on the web portal are very extensive. They include Excel reports, PDF reports, and of course, Excel can be sortable and you can filter and so forth. All right. Um, so our POS, the way that it's set up for implementation is that it can actually be rolled out remotely. So you can ship the equipment or have a vendor ship the equipment directly to the merchant, and you can be in the background setting up, doing all the configuration. Once the merchant receives the equipment, then they can just power up, connect to the internet, and it'll be downloaded automatically. Now we are processor agnostic, so because we don't do any processing, it's really up to you who you work with. All right. Um, so you can add new services really without having any impact on the terminal itself. Now we got a really broad range of terminals of options. You know, you got your countertop, both the high profile, low profile, and even a modular profile. You've got your handhelds, which have a full version of the POS. It's not a watered down version just because it's handheld. So you can, use your countertop to start an order, and then maybe somebody's going to do a delivery. We'll go ahead and collect the order on their end. It can do everything that you would do on the countertop on your handheld. And then we've got these crossover units, which have two screens, a payment screen, it's customer facing, and the operator screen, which can also be utilized as a handheld, as a portable unit because they're a little bigger than the handheld. They've got long lasting battery. And all of these, or the majority of these come with a built-in printer as well. I think the A77, which is the one that I was showing you the screen for before, is the only one that does not have a printer. But all of them have a built-in printer, so it's a full POS in the palm of your hand for both the handheld and the crossover. All right. Now, in terms of manufacturers, we've got five manufacturers on board right now. You've got PAX, of course, that we've always worked with. We've got Deja Vu, Valor. And then we have two newer ones, Nexco and Terminology. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but very, very reliable, very solid units. You can see on the left-hand side what your POS screen looks like. On the top, you've got the handheld devices, which have more of a vertical layout, okay? And then the ones on the bottom, which are your countertop, do have a horizontal layout. So, but it's again, they both have the same functionality. On the right-hand side, you can see what the web portal looks like on a computer or a tablet, and then what it looks like on a handheld. All right. Um, Most of the devices, for the PAX devices at least, um, we've got strong battery life. Even the countertops come with just a little bit of a backup battery. The other devices, the ones on the countertop, don't come with a battery. The ones that are handled, of course, they do. All right. You can connect in multiple ways. You can do via Ethernet, via Wi-Fi. In some cases, like the handhelds don't have an Ethernet port, obviously. They're designed for Wi-Fi, but they can also connect using SIM cards. Okay. And the countertops and the crossovers also have a dual terminal screen, so you don't have to be, flipping them over and things like that. Um, as I said before, it's a very adaptable, very flexible for POS. You can really, adapt it to different industries. So in the food industry, as I mentioned, really the only exception is your sit down big restaurants that require, are more fancy reservations and table dining room layout and things like that. But for everything else, it really is a good fit. And on the retail side, I mean, there's really no limits because you can have a combination of, service and products and so forth, and the system handles that just fine. You got a lot of different features that are specific to different industries, like maybe tobacco stores, liquor stores, convenience stores, and things like that. On the retail end, even fireworks retailers, we've seen that is a really good fit as well. All right. It does come with customer support, 24/7 support. For the reseller, we have a Sound Hub, which is again, a resource center. We provide app and firmware updates constantly, and we do also provide advanced level support. We have a very, very experienced implementation team. We've been doing this now for about 7 years. Okay. All right, so with that, we come to an end to this week's workshop. It's a little bit shorter than usual. So I want to thank everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next month. Remember, last Wednesday of every second to last Wednesday of every month. Right. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.